Hitler, Mao Zedong rolled into one. They know that political power goes out of the barrel of the gun. They know that we will be we the people as long as we're armed as that ultimate check against tyranny. And that's why they hunger and lust after our precious guns. And I will remind them that in 1775 in Lexington and Concord, the war was kicked off that led to 1776 and the Declaration of Independence and July 4th and Mom and Apple Pie and everything good about this country, when the British came to take the guns and the ammo. And I remind them again that the day they try to actually say we can't own our guns is the day they're in a lot of trouble. They are a bunch of wannabe Joe Stalins. They are criminals.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Alex. God bless you for that. That kind of inescapable historical evidence that you just articulated with the proper passion. Alex, feel good today in 2010. That spirit, that most critical and important American genetic trait of defiance, is alive and well and growing out of the cesspool of apathy that allowed American citizens to bend over to the unforgivable degree to allow the Mao Zedong fan club into the White House. And a lot of people, Alex, I know they're, Alex Jones and Ted Nugent, that's hyperbole.
6 of his czars have praised Mao.
It's every word you say, every word I wrote in Ted White and Blue, the Nugent Manifesto, my weekly columns at humanevents.com and washingtontimes.com. In fact, Alex, you got to connect with my website, tednugent.com. I've got thousands of articles I've written that no one can argue with. In fact, here's the beauty of it, Alex. Here's what my critics do when they attack me. Even on those websites, those conservative websites, they constantly repeat the Saul Alinsky, Cloward Piven modus operandi. Everywhere I write an article, this is so beautiful I can hardly stand myself. I'm more proud of what I'm about to tell you, Alex, than anything in my life. Every time I stand up and write an article or speak or do interviews, the left goes berserk, and they call me a draft dodger. I did not dodge the draft. I had a 1Y deferment. They call me a child molester and a sex offender. I've never been charged with or convicted of any of those evil accusations, but based on the Saul Alinsky playbook that Hillary Clinton did her theses in college on, they need to attack with the most vicious and hateful lies they can.
Ted.
Oppress their enemies.
Ted, you should be proud. That's a badge of honor.
I'm proud, Alex.
Well, listen, I mean, they've had national TV, and Chris Matthews claimed that I'm calling for violence when I've never called for violence. I've said we have a right to defend ourselves against criminals. I mean, it's insane how much they lie. But shifting gears into another area that follows that line, I want to read you a quote here. This is the definition of high treason: participating in a war against one's country, attempting to overthrow its government, spying on its military, its diplomats, or its secret services for a hostile foreign power. Now, what is it, by definition, to have Obama violate the 9th, 10th, and 11th Amendment? The 11th Amendment says the federal government cannot sue a state or an individual on behalf of a foreign power or state, and cannot sue an individual citizen on behalf of a foreign power, state, or individual. So that's the 11th, not just the 10th Amendment. All the scholars have looked at it and said that all the Arizona law does is it's a copy of the federal law, and it says if we have first contact with a drunk driving illegal alien, or if we come to a crime scene and they're an illegal alien with no ID, we're going to take them to jail. So it's okay to throw the book at citizens. In Colorado 2 days ago, a 82-year-old veteran was being robbed at his house. They were stealing his vehicle, his trailer. They tried to run over him. He shot one of the illegals. The illegal pled guilty. The police released the wounded illegal and his cohort, and they're charging him with murder, and he's facing life in prison. So the border has collapsed. Sheriffs are begging for help. 80-plus miles into Arizona is literally run by illegals. There's signs up saying, don't drive down this road, don't go in this national park, don't go in the state park. Arizona's begging for help, and Obama sends the feds in to sue them to block the state trying to restore law and order that is lawful. And it's worse. Senator Kyle meets with Obama, and Obama says, I want that crisis to get worse to force through amnesty. If that isn't high treason, Ted Nugent, what is it?
Well, by all common sense and logic, the President of the United States and most of his czars, many of his administration, are guilty of all the crimes you just outlined. Anybody who doesn't get that is either brain I believe that the good citizens of Arizona, I was down there when the good rancher was murdered by illegal invaders, and that our government did nothing in response to an American being murdered by Mexican invaders. This wouldn't even qualify as a bad script for Planet of the Apes, Alex. But I have confidence. I'm on tour right now. I've already done like 20-some cities, and I got another 40 to go. And I communicate with the heroes of law enforcement, our Border Patrol agents, all arms of the U.S. military are at every concert. We have a little powwow. We drink a little ginger ale and eat a little guacamole backstage every night. And we talk about the important issues. And I believe that there is a growing activism. There's a growing re-engagement of we the people. We are once again identifying the self-evident truth that is articulated and guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Certainly that America is based on the Ten Commandments and the Golden Rule, and overall excellence being the vehicle by which you achieve the American dream. That's now starting to become a fist-pounding communication, a little bit more passion, more like Alex Jones would do and like Ted Nugent would do. I see a growing fervor and a growing enlightenment and communication amongst families, at the workplace, at church, at school, where we're starting to identify that the president hates America, that the president hates the American dream, that the president of the United States is waging war on the American dream, entrepreneurialism, and excellence. He literally is implementing policies that are a clear and present danger, that are acts of treason, and I believe that come November, like we did up in Massachusetts and a few other midterm elections recently, the incumbents and the Fedzillocrats, the corruption, the entrenched abuse of power that is rampant in our government today is going to get a rude awakening. I believe that we're going to take this country back in a non-violent way. I believe that the very fact that there are more guns per capita in the United States, more ARs, more ammo than any society in recorded history, Alex, the statistics are irrefutable, that is an entrenchment statement. Don't tread on me. You better hope we take this country back nonviolently, because we can and we will, but the alternative will accomplish the same thing.
Well, the system knows that. Well, law enforcement sent us the MIAC and Homeland Security reports. We broke that back in January of last year. And they're not worried about people wearing turbans in caves. That's what they sell the public on. The entire federal apparatus under Lord Obama is for returning veterans, gun owners, conservatives, people like Ron Paul, people even like the Libertarian presidential candidate that's pretty much milquetoast, Bob Barr. They're saying if somebody has an American flag or get us out of the UN sticker on their car, that they want to kill cops. I mean, this really shows the treason that basically those reports, if you boil them down, say that if you've got a portrait of John Wayne or Ted Nugent hanging in your house, you're a terrorist.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. If you listen to the president and his attorney general, his secretary of treasury, the entire administration. If you listen to 9 out of 10 bureaucrats out there right now, you literally are hearing without flinching their hatred for America, their support for illegal invaders, their intentional dismantling of this American dream, this American experiment in self-government. So, again, the Tea Party is but the tip of a cultural war spear that is being sharpened as we speak, Alex. Again, I think the prognosis is better than it was a few years ago. The line drawn in the sand has never been more obvious and more defined. I believe that more and more Americans are waking up, that we the people, are the cause of all this. We let the rats into our house for the last 50 years, but it took a really stinky, communist, toxic rat like Barack Hussein Obama and his Mao Zedong fan club to finally wake up Americans that this man, this community organizer-in-chief, hates America, and he would be just tickled pink if America turned into his Indonesian dream. But we the people are waking up. The Tea Party is the tip of the iceberg, and I believe that we're going to vote these bastards answers out ASAP. I believe that the next few years' elections are going to be a shocking wake-up call to these abuse of power monsters that come trickle down from the President of the United States. So we do have to turn up the heat. Anybody right now, Alex, in America, who's not in constant communication with their elected officials, their senator, their congressman, their mayor, their government, their governor, saying, stop the tax and burn. Stop with this insanity of forbidding entrepreneurs from digging for the energy that we, the people, need. The BP spill is but 0.000128% of faults by BP and the drilling industry, whereas the